legend that no one dared to challenge. It was said that stepping foot into the abandoned cremation ground after nightfall was an invitation to death itself. Those who did never returned the same, if they returned at all. Locals spoke in hushed whispers about eerie shadows drifting through the air and soft, ghostly laughter echoing among the burning pyres. Some claimed that a powerful ritual had once been performed there, but remained unfinished, leaving restless spirits trapped in the void between life and death. Raghu and Vijay, two fearless young men, were best friends who dismissed such stories as mere superstition. To them, ghosts were nothing more than figments of fearful imaginations. One evening, while sitting at the village square, they overheard the elders discussing the haunted cremation ground. "This is all nonsense," Raghu scoffed. "I've never seen a ghost in my life." One of the elders, Pandit Mohanlal, shook his head solemnly. "It is no joke, child. Our ancestors witnessed a dark ritual there, one that was never completed. That is why the spirits still wander seeking release." Vijay smirked. "If that's true, I'll go there tonight and prove once and for all that there's nothing to fear." Raghu's eyes gleamed mischievously. "If you stay the whole night, I'll give you 1,000 rupees. Despite the elders' warnings, Vijay accepted the challenge. He packed a flashlight and a Hanuman Chalisa for good measure, then set out towards the cremation ground just as the village lamps flickered out. The moon was half hidden behind thick clouds, casting a ghostly glow over the land. As Vijay stepped past the crumbling archway of the cremation ground, a strange sensation crept over him. The air felt heavy, almost suffocating, and the scent of burning wood lingered despite the absence of fresh pyres. He took a deep breath and walked deeper. In the eerie silence, even the sound of his own footsteps seemed unnaturally loud. He found an old, broken pyre and sat down beside it, checking his watch. It was a few minutes to midnight. As the clock struck 12, the air around him shifted. A sudden gust of wind rushed past, rattling the dry leaves and sending chills down his spine. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw something move. A faint glow flickered in the distance, and before he could react, a nearby pyre, one that had long been reduced to ashes, suddenly ignited. There was no fuel, no wood, yet the flames danced hungrily. Vijay swallowed hard. "Must be the wind," he muttered. Then he heard it, a whisper, his name, Vijay. He spun around, pointing his flashlight in the direction of the sound. Nothing. The empty darkness stretched endlessly before him. Just as he was about to dismiss it as his imagination, he felt it, an invisible touch, light as a feather, brushing against his shoulder. He yelped and turned sharply, but there was no one there. The silence grew unbearable. Then, in the dim light, he saw her. A shadowy figure stood beneath an ancient banyan tree, draped in a white sari. Her long hair flowed as though caught in a breeze only she could feel. Her face, it wasn't human. Hollow eyes, black as night, bore into his soul. Her lips stretched into an unnatural grin, revealing rotting, jagged teeth. A suffocating dread clutched at his chest. "Who are you?" he stammered, barely able to force the words out. The figure took a step forward. "The ritual must be completed," she whispered. Vijay's blood ran cold. His flashlight flickered, then died, plunging him into darkness. The whispers multiplied, coming from all around him. Some cried, some laughed, some hissed his name in a breathy chant. Terrified, he fumbled for the Hanuman Chalisa in his pocket and began to recite it. The moment the first words left his lips, a powerful force wrenched the book from his hands and hurled it into the fire. His breath hitched. He tried to run, but his legs refused to move, as if unseen hands were holding him in place. And then he saw it. A pile of ash near a burnt-out pyre began to shift. Slowly, something clawed its way out, a charred skeletal hand reaching for him. Vijay wanted to scream, but his voice was trapped in his throat. The ground beneath him trembled as the rest of the burned corpse emerged, its eye sockets glowing a fiery red. The whispers grew deafening. The ritual must be completed. The skeletal figure lurched towards him, its bony fingers inches from his throat. Overcome with terror, Vijay's eyes rolled back and his body collapsed to the ground. At dawn, the villagers came searching for him. They found him sprawled in the ashes, his body ice cold. In his clenched fist, he held a severed lemon, its insides dry as dust. On his chest, scrawled in soot, were the words, "The ritual remains unfinished." From that day forward, no one dared to go near the cremation ground after sunset. But even now, on quiet nights, the villa